Department of Ex-Servicemen Welfare, Aderney Shri Vijay Kumar Singh ji, CGN GBSSU, State Bank of India, Aderney Shri Shalini Kakkar ji, PDG PIB Shri Manish Desai ji, बहुत स्वागत, हार्दिक अभिनंदन। Nationwide Digital Life Certificate Campaign 2.2 Review and Interaction with Media, इस विशिष्ट आयोजन में आप सबका हार्दिक स्वागत है, अभिनंदन है। हमारा अनुरोध है आदरणीय सचिव महोदय श्री वी श्रीनिवास जी आपसे कृपया इस अभियान पर प्रेजेंटेशन प्रस्तुत करें।
डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी, श्री वी सिंह जी, distinguished colleagues from State Bank of India, Punjab National Bank, PIB, Principal DG Sahib, all participants. DLC campaign was held from November 1 to November 30. The genesis was in the Chintan Shivir deliberations of February 2023 when the Honorable Prime Minister advised that improving pensioner welfare should be taken as the highest priority and digital empowerment of pensioners should be taken up. So accordingly, the department planned a 100 cities DLC campaign for 2023 in 597 locations with a target of 50 lakh DLCs to be generated. Next, please. Next slide, please. So these are the objectives of the campaign: digital empowerment of pensioners. 100 cities and 597 locations it was to be held. 16 pension disbursing banks. 44 pensioner welfare associations coordinated. We have collaborated with Unique Identification Authority for face authentication of all pensioners. And we have defined the role of pensioner welfare associations as also that of the banks. And 297 nodal officers were deployed for the campaign. The campaign was held across the length and breadth of India in 100 cities. And as you can see, from East Godavari to Guwahati, from Patna to Mysore, across India, the campaign was held. And next, please. And the Department of Pension officials visited each of the campaign sites. And these are some of the site photographs: Gangtok in Sikkim, then Kolkata, next please, Dehradun, Lucknow, Surat, Srinagar, Jalandhar, Hyderabad, Bhopal, next please, Goa, Bhubaneswar, Ahmedabad, Chandigarh, Pune, Chennai. I was there in Bangalore when more than 1,000 pensioners attended the camp for face authentication. What we noticed was that pensioners were willing to adopt technology, and it took less than 20 seconds for a DLC to be generated. What would otherwise have taken a full day, the DLC could be generated within 20 seconds. And also in terms of documentation and timeliness of submission, the face authentication technique as also the Jeevan Praman provided tremendous ease of living for pensioners. The stakeholders that collaborated, we have collaborated with the Ministry of Defence. I'm glad the Secretary of Ex-Servicemen Welfare is here to brief you on their experience. The Department of Telecom, we have the Chief Controller General of Accounts of Telecom here. UIDAI, which led the face authentication. This time it was there were no technology challenges that came up with the face authentication technology, and MeitY, which stood at the forefront. Next, please. I should also thank all the pension disbursing banks. The State Bank of India, Srimati Shalini ji is here, and she has stood at the forefront of this campaign across many cities, coordinating with hundreds of nodal officers. Punjab National Bank, which again had a very high footprint in the DLC campaign. There are the other banks like Canara Bank, Indian Bank, Union Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, UCO Bank. Across the length and breadth of India, the banking officials collaborated with the other stakeholders of the pensioner welfare associations, the department officials, to ensure that each camp had a minimum participation of 500 to 1,000 pensioners. These are the 44 pensioner welfare associations that participated. I've had the opportunity to interact with each of them over the last 2 months. and visit several pensioner associations. The Bharat Pensioner Samaj is here. The India Ex-Services Welfare Association is also represented today. So many of them have stood in the front lines of ensuring that this campaign was highly successful. Next, please. The campaign was run on a single portal, the DLC portal, and all the data sets were made available. Some of the glimpses of this portal, next please. Next slide please. So the glimpses of the portal, this is how it looks. 16 banks, 44 associations, 105 cities, 291 nodal officers, and 602 locations were covered. It was also widely visible on print as also on the television. And you can see the cumulative impact was previous slide please. You can see 1.17 crore DLCs were generated, of which 19 lakhs were on face authentication, and you have finger identification as also iris contributing to it. Out of the 1.17 crores, we had 50 lakhs were EPFO pensioners and 38 lakhs were central government pensioners. The average age of pensioners was above 90 were 24,645 pensioners were above the age of 90. 2,61,000 pensioners were in the age group of 80 to 90. And there were 8,99,000 pensioners in the age group of 70 to 80. The DLC bank-wise and state-wise, as you can see, Maharashtra and Uttar Pradesh contributed to the highest numbers. Next, please. And the bank-wise, we had State Bank of India participating and generating highest number of DLCs. Next, please. This is the breakup. Central government pensioners, about 38.99 lakhs were generated. State government, 18.57 lakhs, and 53.58 lakhs from EPFOs, and others were 6.58 lakhs. In all, 1.17 crores. Next, please. Next, please. So, next slide, please. The campaign was also highly visible on social media, and I'm grateful to the Honourable Minister for providing the leadership and guidance in taking up this campaign. In languages it was visible, and we are grateful to Manish Desai ji for providing us this kind of a media opportunity wherein which tremendous dissemination of the success story of the DLC campaign was possible. So it was the DLC campaign 2.0 was India's largest ever DLC campaign. Pensioners attended the campaign in large numbers. Technology adoption by senior pensioners was visible, and we could visit homes and hospitals to generate DLCs, as also extensive media coverage from Doordarshan and PIB. And camps were also attended by Ministry of Defence and Telecom, as also postal officials. And daily updation was possible on the DLC portal thanks to many. And we are grateful to all stakeholders who participated in the campaign. Thank you.
इसकी जानकारी मिली, बहुत अच्छा लगा। अपना अपनी सरकारी बैठ करके ये काम कर लूँगा और बैंक में इस काम के लिए मिलना पड़ेगा।
Before it was a lot of hassle to take the doctor's certificate and then travel to the bank and get all the formalities done. But now this is excellent initiative. Come home and do the office authentication, and it saves a lot of time.
सांगोल्यामध्ये राहते. माझे मिस्टर 92 मध्ये एक्सपायर झाले. त्यांची फ्रीडम फायटरची पेन्शन एस्टेट बँकेला मिळते. त्याच्यासाठी दरवर्षी मला पर्सनली ऑफिसमध्ये जावं लागतं. आता मी थोडीशी आजारी आहे, त्यामुळे मी जाऊ शकते. आता तुम्ही घरी येऊन ही सगळी नवीन पद्धत सुरू केली, मला खूप बरं वाटतं.
सारी जानकारी मिल गई कि दो करना है। अगले साल से अपने घर में बैठे हो जाएगा, झुमका भी हो जाएगा और अपने जो साथी है उनका भी कर सकते हैं। बैंक आने का झंझट से मुक्ति होगी।
It's good that you bank people take care of all of us, and in one way I'm glad that all of you come here to see me. Thank you very much.
आदरणीय डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सर,
आदरणीय वी सिंह मास्टर और डैश में बैठे सभी सीनियर ऑफिसर को मेरा नमस्कार, और साथ ही इस हॉल में बैठे सभी प्रबुद्धजनों को मेरा नमस्कार। भारत सरकार के पेंशन एवं पेंशन मंत्रालय द्वारा नवंबर महीने में एक DLC कैंपेन चलाया गया, 1 नवंबर 2023 से 30 नवंबर 2023 तक। इसके तहत भारत के 500 लोकेशन को आइडेंटिफाई किया गया और उसी क्रम में मुझे श्रीनगर जाने का मौका लगा। श्रीनगर में मेरा DLC कैंपेन के रिगार्डिंग प्रोग्राम 6 नवंबर और 7 नवंबर को था। वहाँ 5 ब्रांच में हमारी विजिट थी। उन 5 ब्रांच में पहला दिन मैंने 3 ब्रांच का विजिट किया और दूसरा दिन 2 ब्रांच का। UIDAI का कॉपरेशन बहुत अच्छा था, साथ ही मीडिया जन भी पहुँचे हुए थे। और सबसे बड़ी बात है कि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट पेंशनर जो 80+ के लोग थे, 2-3 को तो मैंने दिया, उनका जो रिएक्शन था वो अप्रत्याशित था मेरे लिए, क्योंकि फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने इस तरह का अनुभव किया था कि 80+ पेंशनर किस तरह से सरकार के योजनाओं का फायदा उठाते हैं।
सचिव पेंशन, सचिव एक्सर्विस वेलफेयर और गवर्नमेंट सभी उच्च अधिकारियों को चिंतन शिविर हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी के नेतृत्व में हुआ था। तो साथ उनके बाद उनके जो उस पर जो हम संकल्प लिए, इसके बाद जो ये भारत राष्ट्रव्यापी नेशनल DLC 2.0 का हमने शुभारंभ किया नवंबर में, उसकी तरफ मैं चेन्नई गया था। चेन्नई में मैं 5 ब्रांच में मैंने विजिट किया था, मायलापुर, जवाहरनगर, पेरम्बूर, तमरम। वहाँ पर हमने देखा कि सारे हमारे जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं, पेंशनर में पेंशनर स्टेक होल्डर है और बैंक है, उसके साथ साथ MIT और आधार के सारे जो अधिकारी एक ही जगह पर उस कैंप में होते थे, जिससे किसी भी प्रकार की जो दिक्कत है वो आसानी से सुलझा ली गई। क्योंकि जीवन प्रमाण ऐप जो बनाती है मैटी ने भी बहुत हमें मदद किया इस कैंपेन को पूरा करने के लिए। इसमें सभी के अधिकारी बैंक में उपस्थित होते थे, जिसके कारण हमने पेरम्बूर में एक फैमिली पेंशनर का फेस एप्लीकेशन से किया, जो मिनटों में हो गया। उनको पैरालिसिस था, जिसको बाकी चीज़ों से उसको होने में दिक्कत होती थी, लेकिन फेस ऐप से उसका तुरंत उसका जीवन प्रमाण सबमिट हो गया। ये मेरा अपना एक्सपीरियंस है, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा। उन महिला ने सरकार को और सभी को धन्यवाद भी ज्ञापित किया।
तो इस तरीक़ा से मैंने 5 ब्रांच में विजिट किया और मैंने पाया कि काफ़ी लोगों ने बढ़ चढ़ के हिस्सा लिया और इवन ये भी कहा कि ये सरकार द्वारा चलाया गया प्रोग्राम उनके जीवन में उनकी एनर्जी और उनके समय को बचाएगा।
नेशनल DLC कैंपेन 2.0 में जो 100 शहरों को चिन्हित किया गया था, उसमें से मुझे गुवाहाटी और पुणे जाने का मौका मिला। गुवाहाटी में ये जो स्पेशल कैंपेन है, ये SBI और बैंक ऑफ इंडिया 5-5 सेलेक्टेड ब्रांचेस में कर रही थी। मैंने 3 और 4 नवंबर को वहाँ विजिट किया था। डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पेंशन के रिप्रेजेंटेटिव के रूप में जो हमारा बेसिक काम था वो था कोऑर्डिनेशन, जिसमें कि सारे स्टेक होल्डर्स को हम एक साथ ला पाएँ। तो हमने सबसे कोऑर्डिनेट किया, बैंक ऑफिशियल से, UIDAI और जो NIC पीपल और इसके अलावा जो मीडिया है, हमारे बंधु, सबसे हमने कोऑर्डिनेट किया और बहुत ही अच्छा प्रोग्राम वहाँ स्टार्ट हुआ था। जो मेन कार्यक्रम था, जो हम 3-4 जगह विजिट किए थे, वहाँ 400 से 500 पेंशनर्स आए हुए थे अपना DLC कैंपेन में पार्टिसिपेट करने के लिए, DLC देने के लिए। लेकिन जो हमारा मेन उद्देश्य था इस कैंपेन का वो था अवेयरनेस। तो हमने DLC देने के साथ साथ ये कोशिश किया कि जो लोग आए हैं, जो टेक सेवी है, जो मोबाइल ऑपरेट कर सकते हैं, उनको समझाएं कि कैसे इसको ऑपरेट करना है, ताकि उनको दोबारा बैंक में ना आना पड़े। सिमिलरली हमने जो उनके 7 लोग आए हुए थे जो थोड़ा यंग थे, तो हमने उनको कोशिश किया कि वो डाउनलोड करें उसी समय पे और डाउनलोड करके उसको ऑपरेट करें। तो हमने देखा कि वो ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं और काफ़ी खुश हो रहे हैं दूसरों को हेल्प करते हुए। तो ये हमारा अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस रहा कि ये जो हमारा पर्पस था डिसेमिनेट करने का, वो भी साथ के साथ हो रहा था। इसके अलावा हमने बैंकों को सजेस्ट किया कि इसको थोड़ा और आप पब्लिसाइज कीजिए ताकि और ज़्यादा लोगों को इसका फ़ायदा पहुँचे। तो उन्होंने माइकिंग वगैरह, जो लोकल लैंग्वेज में माइकिंग है, वो भी किया। तो आइडिया हमने देखा कि एक तो डीएलसी जनरेट हो रहा है, ये तो खैर पहले भी हो रहा था अलग माध्यम से, लेकिन इस बार लोगों ने फेस ऑथेंटिकेशन ऐप के माध्यम से बहुत ज़्यादा किया और लोगों की एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ रही है और वो खुश हो रहे हैं कि ये बहुत आसानी से हो रहा है और इसमें फेलियर की चांसेस बहुत कम है। तो हमारा अपना पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस ये रहा कि ये बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम है और आगे धीरे धीरे लोगों को इससे बहुत सहूलियत होगी और लोग डीएलसी का ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा फायदा उठाएंगे।
Respected Dr. Jitendra Singh, Honorable Minister of State, Mr. V. Srinivasa, Secretary, Department of Pension and Pension Welfare, Shri Vijay Kumar Singh, Secretary, Department of Ex-Servicemen Welfare, Shrimati Anuradha Joshi Durgapal, Controller General of Communication Accounts, Department of Telecommunication, Shri Manish Desai ji, Principal Director General, PIB. We are very pleased to share my experience and the inputs which we have gathered from all the banks, in fact, that during the Bankers Awareness Meet for SBI officials at Srinagar on 10th and 11th July, Honorable Minister of State had announced that nationwide Digital Life Certificate Campaign 2.0 for the year 2023 shall be held in 100 cities. Sir, your announcement was done in Srinagar. Taking that forward in line, the Digital Life Certificate vision of the Prime Minister, vision for Digital India. To take the initiative forward, State Bank of India partnered with Department of Pension and Pension Welfare in the endeavor, and DLC campaign was conducted with great zeal from 1st of November to 30th of November. Out of the 100 cities nominated by the DOPPW, our bank, State Bank of India, conducted it at 51 centers, which included not only the metro cities, we also covered tier 2, tier 3 cities and far-flung locations like Mandi, Leh, Kamrup, Rangareddy and Tirusar, so that we can cover the most of the pensioners which are located with those pin codes. The camps were held at 251 branches in these locations. These locations were also visited by SBI's top management, and the progress was being monitored directly by the Department of Pension and Pension Welfare. Also, sir, the DLC campaign of SBI was inaugurated by Secretary Shri V. Srinivasa at SBI Administrative Building Auditorium at Bengaluru, our personal banking branch at Delhi. And he was also monitoring the progress as to whether any technical glitches are being faced or any difficulty is being faced in this particular application. But he was very glad to see and meet the pensioners, and he interacted with the pensioners and took their views also. The nodal officers were identified at the central level as well as for each center, so that the camps are conducted smoothly. As mentioned, we had UIDI and Pensioner Association, and the media was also there. So it got wide coverage. People came to know sitting at home that such a big campaign is being done for the pensioners. Apart from the specified camp locations, our officials have also provided facility to very old disabled people and sick people who are in their homes or at hospitals also. So this campaign has also garnered approximately 8 lakh digital certificate for the bank, and the face of authentication technology was appreciated by all, and the hassle-free and paperless method. We are in receipt of many testimonials from the pensioners also that they have truly alienated with the adoption of the digital campaign. The initiative of Department of Pension and Pension Welfare with banks UID has made the nationwide campaign a huge success. We are sanguine that digital wave will continue and new heights will be achieved. I, on behalf of all the banks here, assure that we will be participating with full zeal as per the directions which we receive from the ministry. Thank you.
Honorable Minister Jitendra Singh, Secretary Pension and Pension Welfare, Secretary Ex-Servicemen, dignitaries on the stage, and my esteemed audience. I am speaking on behalf of the Telecom Pensioners, Department of Telecom Pensioners. We have a program called Sampan, which is the online pension processing and disbursement system under our CGC office, which was inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister on December 29th, 2018. Now currently we are disbursing pension to the amount of 1,253 crores to over 4 lakh pensioners all over the country. Now the vision for digital empowerment, this is aligned with the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji's vision for digital empowerment of pensioners. Now Sampan disperses pension directly to the account of in the pensioner's account in the bank. Now we are saving annually about 36 crore rupees in this process. Now I want to say that this Sampan program is scalable. This can cater to other government departments, also the PSUs. We have kept this provision that in case any other department would like to onboard, we can do that very easily. Now, various initiatives by CGC offices for this widespread, this nationwide, this DLC campaign from 1st November to 30th November, we have very, very actively and enthusiastically participated in this. And I have to also comment that we have about 28 locations all over India, our CC offices we call them. They have done a wonderful job of, reaching out to these pensioners. And I have to also comment that our pensioners association, at least on the telecom side, very, very active. There are pensioner association is also represented here. I have to commend my telecom pensioner association that for reaching out to the family pensioners, okay, and to their own pensioners. And we have got a very, very good response to these DLCs camps, which we have done it on our own and also participated in this nationwide DLC campaign. We have reached out to our super senior citizens who are above 80 years of age. There were about 8,000 of them who were onboarded through the DLC this time. Out of a total of, I think in the month of till October, we had nearly got about 1,50,000 DLCs through the Jeevan Praman app. And I also have to say my personal experience was this, that even at the senior level, when our officers were reaching out to educate our pensioners about the face recognition app, this got a very good response, I have to say.
आदरणीय डॉक्टर जितेंद्र सिंह जी, राज्य मंत्री कार्मिक और पेंशन एंड पेंशनर वेलफेयर डिपार्टमेंट मिनिस्ट्री, श्री वी श्रीनिवास जी, सेक्रेटरी डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ पेंशन एंड पेंशनर्स वेलफेयर, other esteemed dignitaries on the dais, representative from various pensioners associations and friends. Defense pension is little complex from the other civil pension. So we have around 30 lakh pensioners, out of which around 6 lakh pensioners are civilian pensioners. They are as good as other civilian pensioners, but we have 24 lakh ex-servicemen pensioners. The pensions for ex-servicemen is a bit complex because there are different type of pensions. So and it's quite complex. So to make it easy, under the guidance of the Prime Minister's Digital India program, the ministry started a program of bringing all those pensioners, including civilian pensioners, on one portal for pensions and civilian pension dispersal both. So that is known as SPERS. तो SPERS पर अभी हमारे पास 30 लाख के करीब पेंशनर हैं और उसमें से 24 लाख एक्स-सर्विसमैन पेंशनर हैं, जो लीगेसी पेंशनर्स थे, जो बहुत पुराने हैं, करीब 100 साल से ऊपर भी 2000 के करीब है, और 80 साल से ऊपर लगभग आप समझ लें 3 लाख, 2.5 से 3 लाख लोग हैं जो 80 साल से ऊपर के हैं। उनके भी डेटा को हमने पोर्टल पर लेके आना था, तो थोड़ी उसकी स्टेबलाइजेशन इशूज़ रही है। इसके लिए हमने स्पेशल 200 के करीब स्पर्स सेंटर बना रखे हैं, जहाँ पर उनके जो इश्यूज हैं, कोई आके अपना मसला लेके आता है तो उसको हम मदद करते हैं। उसके अलावा भी बैंकों के साथ स्पेशल MOU में हमने करीब 500 के करीब स्पर्स के जो इश्यूज करने के लिए उनके सेंटर बना रखे हैं, और कॉमन सर्विस सेंटर है लगभग 5 लाख है पूरे देश में, उनके साथ भी हमारा MOU है, और उसमें भी उनको API दिया हुआ है। लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट आ सकता है, ऑनलाइन ही आता है, डिजिटल आता है, और साथ में जीवन प्रमाण जो पोर्टल है उसके थ्रू भी आता है, जो हमारे दोनों तरह से आए हैं। तो नवंबर महीने में लगभग 12 लाख से ऊपर डिफेंस के जो पेंशनर हैं उन्होंने अपना डिजिटल लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट प्राप्त किया है ऑनलाइन। एंड उसके बाद भी हम, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ ये नवंबर में ही नहीं होता, हमने उनको अलग अलग टाइम भी दे रखा है, तो उसके बाद भी वो कंटिन्यू कर रहे हैं। अभी विगत एक हफ्ता में करीब आप समझते 1 लाख के करीब और लोगों ने किया है, और कुछ लोगों की जो ड्यू सर्टिफिकेट ड्यू ही आगे होती है वो आगे भी करते रहेंगे। तो इसका काफ़ी अच्छा असर हुआ है क्योंकि फेस रिकग्निशन से इमीडिएटली हो जाता है.
I think much has been said. All these statistics also rolled out before you and what is being done in the recent months, including the campaign has been explained. So without being repetitive, what I would like to try to convey in my humble way is that the idea of convening this media briefing or media interaction is to make ourselves realize that the subject of pensioners is no less important than many other subjects which the media might find more interesting, including topical subjects of today. And if you think deeply, this plus 60 is a huge workforce in India. We have a biphasic lifespan in India. Although we take pride in saying that more than 70% of the population is below the age of 40, which is true. India is emerging as a youth resource pool of the world. But at the same time, the absolute number of plus 60 is also on the increase. So even though 70% is below 40, the total number of those plus 60 has increased many-fold compared to what it was in 1947. And therefore, it's also the responsibility of, as Prime Minister keeps saying that when we talk of Amrit Kaal and reaching that minister in 2047, he expects each and every citizen of India, rightly so, to contribute in whatever manner he or she can. So it's also important for us to devise methods of making the best use of their potential, their energies, particularly when they are superannuating at the age of 60, at the prime of their expertise, experience, the area where they have been working, and also health-wise. And therefore, I'll give you figures apart from what has been told to you. The total number of pensioners in India today is 3 crore, out of which the total number in the central government is 70 lakh. Now, the statistical catch in this figure is that the total number of working employees, that is pre-superannuated, is just 40 lakhs. So it's been a sea change. The graph has gone the other way around. Over 25 years back, we had more number of working employees compared to the pensioners. Even about 10 years back, we had about 50 lakh here, 50 lakh there, almost equal number. Gradually, plus 60, the pensioners number began to increase. They went up to 60 lakh, 50, now it's gone up to 70 lakh in central government, and if you compare, also include the states, it becomes about 3 crore. So now, this is also a huge, I would not say liability, but also something that the state exchequer has to bear with. So when the state exchequer is bearing with this huge expense, you cannot just let them sit idle, particularly when they are not ready to sit idle. Now, even more interestingly, I tell you, according to the recent reforms, the pension scale also keeps going. After the age of 90, it is about 75% of the salary. After 100, it becomes equal to salary. And you will be amused when I tell you that plus 90, we have about 1 lakh. But that's only central government. So we have 1 lakh pensioners who are plus 90, drawing 75% of the salary. And they are just unwilling to work. And plus 100, we have 8,000 who are drawing pension as much as the salary which they drew at the age of 60. So I'm trying to put across to you a different perspective of this. Now, this is up to us to streamline their energies. And if we don't, then what happens is that, as I said, they are at the prime of their health and expertise and also gain everything from the part of their work. They find themselves idle, nothing to do, then their energies sometimes also tend to get channelized in the wrong way. They put an RTI against the office where they work because they know everything in the number. So, I have been saying this, and that's why in the last 10 years, we thought it's equally our responsibility not only to bring ease of living or ease of working for the government employees, but also so for those who were no longer employees, but you are still employable in one way or the other. Not employable necessarily that you give them a government job, but you employ them or engage them in some kind of cycle. So therefore, we started a number of initiatives. For example, we have this Bhavish portal, we have this Anubhav, we have these pre-retirement workshops, which are able to also counsel the superannuating person and make him also realize what he is best meant for. So that we can later on also have them in the advisory of the departments or elsewhere. Similarly, they are now writing Anubhav, an account just before retirement, to tell us, that's a kind of a research manual for us, to tell us what was their experience in their 30-40 years. And from that we also learn some of the systemic pitfalls which we try to curb, and which we have under Prime Minister Modi done to a great extent. Like for example, the first batch of Anubhav we had, there was a lady who wrote that I was interested in tourism, I spent all my life in tourism department, I wanted to upgrade myself to enhance my capacity. So since the first batch I myself read the account, I said this is something that we have to pick up. So this is an exercise which goes beyond simply the statistics of how many people we have engaged. Now to why this campaign of DLC and why these adalats. When we came in 2014, we realized that this was not only inconvenient, it was also inhuman to ask somebody to go to the doctor and to get testified that he was alive. So working in the hospital, I had learned that it's always imperative to get a death certificate. The patient's attendants are very keen. And वहाँ से फोन आ जाता है बिहार से, if the patient expires, भाई वापस आते आते वो जरूर ले आना. Because the survivors are worried about the gratuity, the insurance, etc., which they won't get unless they get a death certificate. But to ask a living being to get a life certificate, and the life certificate had become such a dogmatic thing. Each year you had to actually put it in. If you had a life certificate of 2023, you would get pension with it. But if the record did not contain the life certificate of 2022, your pension of 2022 will get held up. And this happened. There was a case in Goa. The person got his pension for this year because he had put the certificate in his file, and the person disbursing there said, I can't take this also. I know you are alive, but my file is incomplete, so I will be inviting displeasure from the vigilance or whatever. So we thought let's make you, earlier we thought we could do away with it, but then some of the banking sector friends, they suggest to us that no, there are certain misappropriations also have been noticed. Then they brought in my notice, a case of an employee whose father had died, a young man whose father had died, and he was drawing family pension for as long as 6 years before it was detected, after the death of his father, because he got all the checkbook, signed, and he was managing the life certificate from here and there. So then we thought, okay, we'll have this, but we'll devise some easy method. And the Modi government has been known to make the optimum use of technology. I think never before in governance technology was used to such an extent, because Prime Minister Modi has been himself pushing it, whether it's Digital India, with all sorts of technological initiatives at his best and his own personal intervention. So we introduced biometry for the pensioners. Now, as I said, the age span is increasing. So somewhere around the end of the last year, we were made to realize, or it was brought to our notice, that after a certain age, maybe after 75, 80, the finger marks also become not very reliable. So I'm glad to say, and also proud to say, that I think we were the first in the government sector to have introduced face recognition technology, which was notoriously being used by the crime world. So now the pensioner simply, there's a WhatsApp, he looks into the camera of his mobile, and as Mr. Singh said, within 20 seconds, it gets verified with his Aadhaar number, and the life certificate is made available to the counter in the concerned bank. And this has become handy. And I must compliment all the pensioner associations here, which are, there representatives, they have been very cooperative, because all these campaigns can succeed only when you have a mass cooperation. And like Swachhata campaign, like some of the other famous campaigns of the Modi government, this also became a mass campaign. We saw pensioner associations taking up the initiative of preparing the list of plus 80, plus 90, very old, elderly pensioners going to their houses, and gradually also involving the youngsters in the household, the teenagers in the household becoming active to get their grandpa's face recognition, also going to the neighbors or the digital life certificate. So that's a big number. And out of plus 91 lakh, we have 25% who have already been converted to digital life certificate. Now, if you, out of these digital life certificates that we have, which is total 38, total 1.5 crore, out of the 1.5 crore pensioners have availed of DLC. And out of this, 9.6 lakh have already used face recognition technology. Others may not be requiring it because the biometry will be still relevant, but we would also pursue it further. So what I'm trying to say is that there's a huge progress made. It's also not only a campaign to facilitate the dispersal of pension at the doorstep, but also to bring in ease and convenience to the life of the elderly citizen. Now, second is the pension adalat. We were having cases which were pending for so many years, particularly family pension. More than the pension, it was the family pension which was, bearing the toll of it. The family pension would get held up for 20 years, 25 years, by the time the survivors would also not survive. And we have seen this. Many of the pension adalats, because I was myself going just for my own learning, we learned there was this lady.
The case of Jashodhan Devi.
You thought only the judges quote judgments.
Yes.
We have the secretary pension quoting judges.
The case of Jashodhan Devi was processed as a regular family pension case, but after a gap of 46 years was processed as an extraordinary pension case because she lost her husband in the service of the nation. So her pension went up from family pension of 50% to 100%, and she received backlog arrears of 17 lakh rupees.
Which includes some of the rules in the pension department itself and pertaining to family pension. For example, we did away the rule because the earlier rules were not very fair or equally placed for the female pensioners, particularly as far as the family pensioners. So there was, we reformed that rule for the separated daughters or divorced daughters because they had to go to the court, get a judgment of divorce. Now you know so many divorce cases pending for 20 or 25 years, the VIP cases. And how would you then expect a destitute girl to wait for so many years? So we said the only evidence that we require is that you go to the court, file a divorce petition, and that receipt itself will suffice for us. Then there was another case, rule that if a person goes missing, his family would not get pension for 7 years. And unless his dead body is found, which is of course the evidence that he is dead, or he comes back alive, then of course there is no pension, or let's wait for 7 years. So we realized, and I suggested, I'm glad that the officers have been very cooperative. In today's time when we have so many violence affected areas in the country, the left violence, the northeast, the Kashmir, many of our employees actually were getting missing. Some were getting kidnapped, some and therefore we could not leave the family in lurch. So we have done away with that. We said the family pension will be available immediately. That dogmatic thought that what would happen if he comes back, money would have already been given. We said we can devise methods of making the recovery through the subsequent salary installments or whatever. So number of reforms in the pension department have been brought in. There was another rule that unless if the person dies before putting in 10 years of service, he gets no family pension. So when I saw this, I said it's so inhuman. You didn't give him the choice to choose the timing of his death. If he has chosen to die on his own will, then of course you can hold him to ransom. But if he's died with God's will, how can you deny him? So we did away with that. Any person, unfortunately, dying for whatever reason, at whatever stage of his permanent enrollment in the government service, approved in the government service, will be entitled to family pension for his survival. So this is part of those reforms that this exercise has been undertaken. And why we are sitting here is so that media friends could maybe find it little interesting or useful to carry it forward for the larger section of people amongst us. Thank you.
The pensioners' welfare, Mr. V. Srinivas, and after that, the minister spoke very elaborately about what kind of reforms the government has adopted and attempted over the years. The underlying thrust being ease of living and dignity for elders. Now we open the floor for discussions.
As the technology moves to the next level, we would also continue to move. In fact, we will be the first to, as I said, to pick up, possibly the first to pick up the face recognition technology also and put it to the right kind of a positive use. And this is also causes awareness in a larger manner, that people get to know how best to use these technologies. Even their family members, some of them were not aware of it. But now they have also started adopting it. And as we move on, and I must thank the banking sector also, they have been very cooperative even in the COVID times. So as we move on and the new technologies evolve, we will make best use of that. Maybe tomorrow, in consultation with the banking sector, we have a provision that the certificate is generated, and then of course the pension goes directly into his account. We already have an integrated pension portal in place now. And there's a DigiLocker. We've also given them DigiLocker. I didn't speak of all those things. So in the process, these elder lot are also getting upgraded and updated about the technologies which are not no longer confined only to the youngsters, because they are taking it. कुछ एक और कोताहियाँ हैं जिनको दुरुस्त किया जा सकता है, किसी कोई कमी है जिसे पूर्ति की जा सकती है। जैसे लेकिन जो बात सोचने लायक है वो ये कि ये इसी सरकार में हुआ 9-10 साल में मोदी जी के आने के बाद। ये सरकार कानून रूल तो वही थे, ये वही कानून पहले भी था कि 10 साल तक जब तक आदमी जिंदा न रहे तो उसे फैमिली पेंशन नहीं मिलती। ये वही कानून था कि जो हमारी तलाकशुदा बेटी है उसको फैमिली पेंशन नहीं मिलेगा जब तक वो अदालत से। लेकिन इस सरकार में ये नीयत भी थी और नीति भी थी कि वी विल ब्रिंग आउट रिफॉर्म्स, और खासतौर से गवर्नेंस रिफॉर्म्स में दिस गवर्नमेंट हैज मेड अ ह्यूज हेडवे।
तो वो जो 100 इयर्स कंप्लीट करके जो लोग पेंशन ले रहे हैं उनको क्या तकलीफ हो रहा था पहले, और अब क्या नहीं?
नहीं, तकलीफ कोई नहीं हो रहा था। एक तो ये है कि ये जो फेस रिकग्निशन टेक्नोलॉजी के माध्यम से उनको घर बैठे बैठे अपना जिंदा होने का प्रमाण देने की एक सुविधा, एक विकल्प रहेगा जो पहले नहीं था, और बैंक वाले इस बात की अपेक्षा करते थे। और बहुत सारे हमारे ऐसे बुजुर्ग थे जिनके पास या तो जाने के साधन नहीं थे या वो शारीरिक स्थिति ऐसी नहीं थी कि वो जाकर के बैंकिंग सर्टिफिकेट लगाए, और उनके बाल बच्चे और बाकी परिवारजन भी अपने अपने काम में व्यस्त रहते थे। तो एक बहुत बड़ी राहत है उनके लिए।
रिपोर्ट मिली है कि डिजिटल लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट हरियाणा स्टेट जो रिटायर्ड एम्प्लॉयज़ हैं वो एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं। वो उनको जब वो जाते हैं लाइफ सर्टिफिकेट के लिए तो उनको कहा जाता है आप ट्रेजरी से, डिस्ट्रिक्ट ट्रेजरी से संपर्क करें।
नहीं, अगर ऐसा है तो आप हमें कोई ऐसा उदाहरण दे दीजिए तो हमारे अधिकारी संपर्क करके करवाएंगे। क्या है कि इसमें कसूर उनका भी नहीं है, उनको भी शिक्षित करना है। ये सारे नए विकल्प है, कभी कभी उनको भी समझ नहीं आता है।
कुछ स्टेट्स बहुत अच्छा काम कर रही हैं, जैसे उत्तर प्रदेश कहा आपने, और कुछ स्टेट्स पर हरियाणा।
और मैं आपकी प्रशंसा करूंगा जो हमारे पेंशनर एसोसिएशन है। अभी क्या हुआ कि आवर पेंशनर एसोसिएशन हैव बिकम वेरी वाइब्रेंट बिकॉज एट द एज ऑफ 60 दे आर फुल ऑफ विगर, दे आर फुल इनटू एक्टिविज्म। पहले नहीं था, तो उससे क्या होता है कि बहुत सारा इनपुट हमें मिलता है। अब जैसे इनकी
ईपीएफ वालों ने बहुत अच्छा काम किया है। नागपुर वार्धा में 1 लाख
हमें एक प्रदेश से एक पेंशन वेलफेयर एसोसिएशन है, खुद नियम पढ़े और हमें समझाया कि यहाँ जो CGHS का सेंटर खुला है वो नियम के अनुसार पर्याप्त नहीं है, क्योंकि उसके लिए इतने सारे सेवानिवृत्त कर्मचारियों के लिए होना चाहिए। यहाँ पर संख्या बढ़ गई है पिछले कुछ वर्षों से, लेकिन CGHS की कैपेसिटी उतनी है। ये हमारे अधिकारियों को ध्यान में लाओ। फिर हमने वो स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय के साथ विषय टेकअप किया, तो अब तो बहुत हमें इनपुट्स आपके से मिलती है, तो ये भी इनपुट का हम इसका फॉलोअप करेंगे।
थैंक यू।